Okay, my friends. Today's subject is the words Jesus said about this subject. Here's the subject. Let me quote it for you. Do not call any man pope on earth. Do not call any man pope. Pope means father. Jesus said, call no man your father on earth. He means religious father. He doesn't mean your father and mother, your brothers, your sisters. Those are familial terms. Those are allowed, permitted, and encouraged and expected. The problem is, he said, in the context of titles, of religious titles, if you look at the passage in Matthew 23, before verse 9 and after, he's talking about religious titles and callings, not to use them as forms of address, not to expect your flock, your church, to call you Pope, Father. Call no man on earth, no religious man, your Pope. Call no man Pope on earth. That's what the English Standard Version says. The ESV, it's a literal, direct quote translation. It's a very accurate translation. So I'm appealing to you, Catholics, that who do you want to follow? The Pope, or do you want to follow Jesus? Jesus in Matthew said, call no one on earth Pope. He said it. Abba, Pope, Father, Daddy. So here's the problem. From the big early on in ancient times, us religious people, we want to have religious fathers. It happened in Israel when Israel was delivered by God from slavery to Egypt. What they did was they once they got into the promised land, it took them many years to overtake it all and take it all. So what happened was, one of the tribes, I think it was the tribes of I'm trying to think of the tribe, but one of the tribes, there was like 600 men, went into an area to take over a town. I think it was the tribe of people from the tribe of Benjamin. So they were going along, and they went by this Israelite's house, and he had a young man that wasn't even a Levite, I don't think, as his priest, his father. He was a young man, but this householder took him and said, you can be a priest to me, a father. And so he was tempted to have a religious father, even though the guy was younger than him, which is bizarre. It just doesn't make any sense. And so the men, group of 600 men or whatever, was going by, and they saw this guy, and they said, you come be a father to us. So even those men wanted a religious father. And that's the problem. It says in those days, every man did what was right in his own sight. They didn't do the Lord's will. They were doing what was right in their own sight, meaning according to their own hearts, their own conscience, their own opinion, their own doctrines. They wanted a religious father, even if it was a young guy. And the guy went along with it. He just seemed to like it, and they liked it, and it was a fine arrangement, but it's wrong. And so I'm just giving you an example. You can check this out. If you're smart, if you're wise, if you're noble, you're going to go to the scriptures, not to the priest. You're not going to go to the father. You're not going to go to a pastor. You're not going to go to a teacher. You're not going to go to your parents. You're not going to go to, if you're old enough, you're not going to go to anybody. You're not going to go to your friends. You're going to go straight to the scriptures to see if what I'm saying is true. Look up Matthew 23, verse 9, in the English Standard Version. Call no one Pope on earth. It says because you have one Pope in heaven, one Father, one Abba in heaven. So why do the Catholics do that? Because the Catholics don't follow Jesus. They follow Catholic tradition, which many times is in direct conflict, opposition, sinfully against the very words of Christ. Do you want to follow Jesus, or do you want to follow the Pope? Follow Jesus. Why not just do what Jesus said? Don't call anyone your religious father. Don't do that. It's a sin. It's a big sin, because God is offended because he's your father. If you believe in God, he's supposed to be your religious father. So you can call your daddy on earth. That's right and good. We should always call our mother, hello, mother, mom, whatever, and our father, father, Abba, and things like that. But when it comes to religious things, we are never allowed to call anyone. This is Christianity. This is another difference between Christianity and Catholicism. Christians are not supposed to call anybody their religious father. And many of us refuse to greet priests by father. Even when they come up and say, hi, I'm Father John. I will not call them father. I will not do that. Why? Because of Jesus' teaching. It constrains me. It helps me behave in a way that does not dishonor our Father in heaven. How will you address your religious leaders? Are you going to do what Jesus said? Or are you going to do what the Catholics say? You must decide. It's for you to decide, but do yourself a favor. Read the scriptures, look at the context, see what he's talking about, and then act accordingly. Do the Lord's will. Follow Jesus. Don't follow the Pope.